it was so straight and fast. Scientists are using that to like calibrate instruments.
Welcome to amorephillyunion podcast, where sometimes life gets crazy enough that we have to settle for the short version. We are your hosts. I'm Paul.
I'm C.
And I'm E.
And
I thought we could have gone with the amorephillyunion, the Cliff's Notes edition.
yeah, we're gonna definitely we want to get a recording out this week, but it's probably going to be slightly shorter than our normal hour-long episode.
I don't know. I might take that bet.
We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. I don't know. We're all tired.
We do have two games to discuss.
That too.
And we'll see how quickly we can get through all of this. But
Yep.
life's been a bit crazy for all three of us this week, and with two games, including one on Wednesday, we decided to set the record date for Thursday, and well, life just keeps on coming.
Yeah.
So bear with us, and we hope you enjoy what we have. Let's see, some bookkeeping, international newsy. What's up?
Yeah, just checking our online traffic, and just wanted to give a big shout out to the Netherlands.
Hey.
So yeah, we had a very large number of downloads from the Netherlands. So
Really?
yeah, so hey everybody there in the Netherlands.
Somebody
Thanks for-
enjoying the
thanks for tuning
backlog?
in.
Well, welcome to the show.
It's been a while since we've been over there, so
We are jealous of your delightful fries and mayonnaise.
yes.
Well, we do have two big games to discuss, so let's get into it. We kind of went top of table, bottom of the table here this past week. On Saturday, we had Columbus Crew come into town, and it was a battle, essentially the Eastern Conference number one versus number
Yeah.
two.
Yeah, a lot riding on this game.
A lot.
Yeah,
6-point.
and as Eric so succinctly put after the game, he's like, "Well, that was a 2-2 loss."
Yeah, yeah.
Because it felt like it, obviously 2-2, at least a draw. That's something. But the Union had two leads in this game,
Yeah.
and then takeoffs and landings, right?
Takeoffs and landings.
Mhm.
And Crew ends up getting the game tying goal basically at the very end of the game in stoppage time, and there
Mhm.
wasn't a whole lot of time after they got that the second goal. So one thing I do want to commend both teams about, and was what I was hoping for, in the end of last episode when we said, well, what are we looking for out of this game? It's like I wanted to see two teams attacking, and it was undoubtedly a highly entertaining game.
Mhm.
Both teams going all out, trying to score.
Yeah.
And it was great to see the Union, score twice against a very, very solid team.
Yeah.
I don't know. What about you guys? What stood out for you in this one, E?
Yeah, it was it was an exciting game. It was good to see Baribo keep adding to his tally. In particular, the first goal was interesting because I think Rick got a credit for the assist because it was a free kick that
He did.
just sending that ball all the way down the kind of the left side of the field where Sullivan got to it. So I always appreciate when a goalkeeper registers an offensive stat. So that's always good to see.
There
Yeah.
was some strange stat attached to that too, like youngest
Yep.
Oh yeah, what was that?
goalkeeper. That can't
To
be
be
right.
registered
was.
an assist. Yep.
Youngest goalkeeper to register an assist. Yeah, that fully sounded like a baseball stat to me.
Yeah.
That was insane.
On a Saturday in May.
Yeah, exactly.
How about you, Christy? Anything else you want about this game?
I mean, return of Gazdag, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. I forgot about that part.
So, that was a big one. I mean, seemed to get the respect you would expect.
Mhm.
From
I didn't listen to the team lineups, but my understanding was they actually announced him last.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
really?
I heard, and then
Yeah.
they announced him last, and apparently he got a very warm ovation
Yeah.
when they did announce
Good.
his name.
I mean, I did see, photos and video of him before the game, like greeting
Mhm.
Glesnes, and
Yeah.
and after two, but
Well, I
and
heard
other
that,
players. So
the Sons of Ben with their normal, very welcoming, turn their back to the field and middle fingers up salute, for most of the visiting team actually turned around. They allowed their members to turn around and applaud for Gazdag
yeah,
Good.
in honor of his, his career here at
Yeah.
Philly.
yeah, as well they should. Now that being said, it did not stop Glesnes from kneecapping isn't the word I want.
Yeah, I got pretty physical out there.
But taking Gazdag's feet right out from under him
Yeah.
partway through the match. So that was it's I don't know, it's such an interesting mindset. You can be they kept saying they're friends and they're friends off the field, it's like it's just wild to think about
That
the
competitive
dichotomy, I guess.
mindset.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You can be both things. It's having not played team sports much myself. It's just a strange thing, but it's very cool to see that compartmentalization
Yeah. Yeah, right.
that's required to
Yeah.
do that. Yeah. But no, it was nice. It was weird to see him.
It was.
Yellow is not his color.
Mm-mm.
Blue is. But whatever. But it was good to see him back.
Hmm.
Even if it was for Columbus. So yeah, and he didn't get a chance to square on us either. So
Nope.
that was good.
No
Yeah.
goals from Gazdag in this one.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Westfield,
Oh,
Yeah,
let's
let's
not
see
leave
that.
this game without talking about Westfield
No.
getting that second goal. That scrum in the box. And I don't even know if Baribo meant to do it. I don't know if he saw him making the run, but Baribo did get the toe poke. Toe poke.
Yep.
That doesn't sound right.
Say
Ooh,
that
you
10
sounded
times.
very Philly when you said that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know.
Let's get some
Seriously.
hoagies
J-Pig.
before we get home.
But the toe poke from Baribo to the top of the box and Westfield, like it almost went through the net. It just seemed
Yeah.
like it was just moving at a speed that's not normally seen. And
Mhm.
as far as first MLS goals go, that was a beautiful, beautiful
Mhm.
take from Westfield.
So that was his first goal, wasn't it?
That's my understanding is
Mhm.
it was
Yeah.
his first MLS goal.
It's going to be hard
Mhm.
to top that thing. That was just, yeah, it was a work of art. That thing was just, it was so straight and fast. Scientists are using that to like calibrate instruments.
Yeah. Was not a lot of curve in that one at
Yeah.
all.
No.
But the game did end in a 2-2 draw. Disappointing
It
at the,
Very
was
at the
disappointing.
end of the game.
stoppage time goals by the other team, are just they're extra salty.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's deflating, right? As at that point when Columbus got that second goal and stoppage, it was like, okay, this tie is a loss. It's a 2-2 loss.
To
Especially
quote
the way
Dave
that,
Leno, say it ain't so.
yeah,
Yeah.
especially the way that second goal got scored off the corner kick that somehow dribbled into the box, got low, and I mean Wagner got beat to the ball, and Zadowski or whatever his name is, Sawatsky or
Hmm.
just beating Rick. That just reminded me Blake was not in net for this game
Yeah.
either.
Mhm.
Whatever it is that's keeping him out, an injury or what, Rick got both of these games. So,
Mhm.
yeah, definitely a tough one.
Well, and to your point about that goal, to quote Latu, that was a sneaky one.
It certainly was.
Which when my heart was laying on the floor, it wasn't as funny as it is now.
Yeah.
But it could have been a loss. I mean,
You could
so
have.
and when you're on the other side of it, when your team pulls that out, and then in the last minute, which we'll get to, it's
Yeah.
it's very exciting. So I kind of can't begrudge them, but I was glad to see too. Wasn't
Yes, you
sure. Yeah, okay. All right.
Graduate.
I was glad to see that we weren't really cowed in this game either. I thought it might be a
Yeah.
little bit more so.
Hmm.
Because the crew being, crew is as you guys like to say, non-trivial.
Hmm. Oh,
So
yeah.
and with Gazdag too. I wasn't sure what the feeling was going to be, but they were out there doing their thing. They did not look like they were nervous or anything. And they do sometimes. So
Yeah,
I
That's
was
right.
glad to see that.
yeah. My hope is, whatever, 20 odd games from now, we're not sitting there wishing we had 2 more points to our standing. You know, we didn't drop all three. We at least walked away with 1 point.
Right.
And we prevented Columbus from walking away with three. They only got one. Um, but we'll see. Time will tell.
Yeah.
But
On a lighter intermission kind of note here, Scoops watched this game with us. She was down,
mhm.
and she figured out the secret. Probably everybody's figured this out but me. But how the Sullivans keep their shorts tucked up the way they do, they tuck them into their little undershorts or underwear or whatever it is. My mom has thought about this apparently. So, but she had all figured out. She's like, look, it's all tucked into the undershirt things they wear. I'm like, oh, you know what? I never thought about it. So there you go. In case you guys are slow like me, that's,
Yeah,
and
I
you know how
will.
those Sullivan boys like to keep their
Yep.
legs free and
Yep.
unhampered.
I
So,
gotta flex those quads.
Yeah, right.
absolutely. Absolutely.
They're like high performance machinery. They got to be properly cooled. I don't know.
And I will say that game was one game that none of the three of us were at. So I'm
No.
not saying anything that might be related, but
mean,
I know we.
you're not saying anything either.
I'm
So
not saying it. That's
right,
correct because
right.
you two did make it to the game yesterday.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was.
By the hair of our chinny chin chins, for sure.
Yeah,
as the Union hosted LA Galaxy. So
last
Yeah.
place LA Galaxy, no
right.
wins LA Galaxy,
Yep.
totally at the bottom of the barrel in the entire league LA Galaxy.
Yep.
I mean, I was half expecting like, Union 2 to be on the field, just, the way, the confidence going into this game. And
So it's interesting because Columbus was number one in the East when we played them.
one or two.
They were number one.
Okay.
We were number two,
Okay.
and not anymore. Now Cincinnati has jumped both of us.
Yeah.
Right.
The Galaxy, like you're saying, they do not have a win yet this season. Spoilers. And they came in. They're struggling in so many different ways, and yeah, and then they go up 2-0.
Oh my gosh. And we're in the stands, it's this misty, foggy, just super saturated. I remember at one point on the big board they showed the weather forecast or the actual weather conditions. It was like 97% humidity. And even that I thought was a little low. And but we were sitting there and this happens. And okay, the first goal happens, air starts to leave the stadium. That second goal. And that's when I texted on our group channel the Matrix GIF of Switch saying "not like this,"
Yeah.
because we were talking about how the Union. I feel like we actually are a stat leader in helping other teams achieve stat leaders, like leading things, and so we're going to be that team or first, right? We're going to be that team that is the first one that LA Galaxy wins in the 2025 season. It's
especially since Galaxy were just coming off the worst loss in club history as a 7-0 drubbing against New York Red Bulls on the weekend.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh man. I was like, well, that's why I texted after they went up 2-0. I'm like, well, let's see if 2-0 really is the most dangerous lead in soccer.
And that was very prescient of you or to text that.
Yeah, because I literally after the second one I just turned to you and I was like, should we go? Should we go now? I mean, we in a way had just gotten there because we were a bit late. It was, the Wednesday games are a little more challenging to get to. But we weren't that late, but still it was just like, oh my gosh, what did we just walk into?
And Paul,
it was interesting.
I said you pointed out about how we're at this game and then Union are down 2-0. It's like, oh man, because I think Chrissy, you're like, I think maybe we should leave. It's like this is our fault. This is our fault, everybody. We're like not even, well, whatever 30 something minutes into the game, and we're trailing by 2.
Yeah, 37th minute was the second goal. Now, both of those goals were kind of similar in that they were almost counterattack goals because the Union were taking it to LA, it felt like.
Yeah.
And these goals were kind of against the normal run of play.
I
Both
would
of
even say that some of these goals were made by either mishandling or
Yep.
mistakes on the
Yep.
Union's part that LA capitalized on.
Yeah, I saw a stat that apparently LA only had 2 shots on goal in the first half, and they put them both away.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Now, neither of those, interestingly, were really takeoff or landing
No.
of the half. I
No.
mean, the 37th minute is close to that landing, but it wasn't
right at the edge.
really.
Yeah, it's right
Yeah.
at the edge of the designated time period.
Yep.
Just so folks know, I think we've now canonically stated
Yeah.
takeoff and landing time at the beginning and end of each half is an 8-minute window.
Yep.
So it's an 8-minute window. That's when things tend to happen.
I have a question about that. So is it 8 minutes of into and leaving
I count
regular
stoppage.
time? I was going
I
to say
count stoppage.
stoppage because then.
But
So is it 8 minutes plus stoppage?
I say it's 8 plus stoppage. Like when we
Think so?
hit that
Oh,
30,
we have a schism.
when we when we hit that 37th minute, then I'm like, okay, we are now entering landing time because
Okay.
I think it was at the end of the game where they tacked on another 8 minutes.
they did.
And I was like, that's a second landing time. The way I think of it is the landing's been called off. We got to circle around one more time. And we had 2 landing times there.
The touch and go.
So, as far as the Supreme Court of takeoffs and landings, we have a slight discrepancy. How 2 of the judges read that.
Yeah.
But, that's fine. That's
Well,
fine.
we are a group of 3, so we can actually rule a majority. So
Yeah. I haven't given it enough thought.
what do you say, Justice C? What is your ruling on this?
Let me cogitate on that
Does
one.
landing time also include stoppage time, or is it independent thereof?
But in takeoff time of the second half, the Union would go on to
Yes.
show how dangerous it can be to count those chickens before they're hatched, as a corner turned into some magic, and then Mr. Tyberibo gets yet another goal to keep Kuipers off of the league leading goal scoring platform.
Look, I don't know what happened in that locker room. I don't know
Good.
who was yelling. I don't know if it was Allie. I don't know if it was.
I think Roy
somebody
Kent
was
came in
yelling.
there.
I mean,
Good
somebody
vitamins.
put the fear of God in those gentlemen because they came out ready to play. They were not so much ready. The first half, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've talked about many times like game of 2 halves, team of 2, or or 1 half, or, however you want to think of it. But it was a whole different vibe. And even when they scored, I think that first goal, you would have thought that it was like the 90th minute with 3 minutes of stoppage. The way that they just did not really celebrate that much and just took it right back to the middle of the field to start again. It was like, let's
they
go.
knew they still had a job to do.
Yeah. Because I think they were very much in the not like this mode as well. So
because again, Paul, as you said, like the first half, the Union we were throwing punches. We were throwing big punches, right? I mean, LA had their work cut out, and they were just capitalizing on these bad plays on the Union's part. But then, with the second half start and 3 minutes in and we get that first goal, I just felt like the air rushed back into the stadium. And quick little side note here, Christy and I were lucky enough to meet up with superfan Nate at this game, which was a lovely little surprise. And so we were talking at halftime, and it was just like, I mean, I think we're all in agreement. It's like the Union have to come out in the second half. Like we got to get on the board ASAP just to get that momentum going. So I like to think, they probably have like listening devices throughout the stadium, and I think they're like, we got to listen to these amorephillyunion guys, especially with Nate in on the conversation. Also,
Clearly,
shout out to Dan; he was also there.
Yes, nice to meet you, Dan. Do you want to talk about your new favorite player?
Okay, yeah, and I've been holding off too, even the first game. Danley, you know,
Danley, Danley.
Danley,
like
Danley.
when we talk about the Columbus game, right? Basically, Gazdag and the new Gazdag are going to be out in the field. I think
Well, Gazdag's name is Danny, and
there you go. Yeah. And if you say Jean-Jacques, it always sounds like Gazdag, you know? So, um, Danley, I mean, we're watching this game. How many times I'm like, look at this guy just dominating that center lane in the field,
Falling.
from soup to nuts, right?
Yep.
From our goal to their end. I mean, this guy was just all over the field. I didn't get a look at his heat map from the game. It's
No,
gonna be,
nuts.
through the
everywhere.
roof. But yeah,
The
Danley
heat
and
map was
this.
simply yes. Yeah.
I think I was too close to my mic when I laughed.
Well, the levels look good on this end. I think you're right.
Oh gosh. Yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah.
and the way he could catch up, like somebody would be way
Mhm.
downfield with the ball and all of a sudden he was there. It's like, where did you come from? So
His
I-
legs like extend an extra foot as he accelerates.
I mean,
Go,
it's like they're on a
gadget legs.
like on a circle. It's like it just there's
Yeah.
like dolls with the
Yeah.
spinny legs. Yeah, no, it's just
I feel like
wild.
what Baribo is to the forward position, just like blossoming and just doing what he should be doing, Danley is to this midfield position. He is just I'm really excited by what he's doing out there, and I'm encouraged. And that's the frustrating thing about this crazy game is next week things can be just on their head. But right
Right.
now, Danley is just such a motor in that midfield, and it's just great to see. Because two of these goals, one goal from the Columbus game, and then our second goal in the LA game, both were facilitated by Danley. So
Mhm.
yeah, the guy's he's such a threat out in the field, and yeah, you know, Coach Carnell, keep doing what you're doing with, especially with this midfield, because Lukic too. I really like how Lukic
Oh, yeah.
is such
Yes.
another supporting character in this midfield. Yeah, very
Baby
very
Serbian
encouraging.
Latu, as you put it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So yes, the Union would storm back with a corner kick that went off of that was Glesnis's header off of Harriel's knee,
Yeah.
past the keeper. I
Real
don't know
quick,
if
talking about that. So that was, I mean, Glesnes obviously shooting on net, and it
yes.
it went off Harriel. I don't know how much deliberate thinking Harriel was doing, or it just
Zero.
happened to be occupying the space that the ball was going to try to pass through. But I mean, I always feel like, can we just split like who gets accredited with the goal?
Yeah.
Yeah, you almost wish that would work, but
Yeah.
Harriel gets the credit for the goal, and Glesnes is one of the assists. So.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
No, I definitely think that Harriel was just kind of putting a leg in there to be opportunistic and see if they could help, if he could help him get on frame.
Yeah.
And then Baribo gets the header goal from a Danley cross.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Again, Danley just I don't remember if it was Damiani or who fed him the ball going up the left side.
Yep.
And again, Danley's just off to the races. Defenders on his heels, and he just chips it over, and Baribo's right there.
He got up for that goal.
Yeah.
That was he like, I don't know where the defender was, but it wasn't anywhere close to where Baribo's head was. And I mean, you saw McCarthy when he hits the ground, he just kind of just sits there and leans against the upright. Like, how did that get past me?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that was a little like seeing Gazdag and Columbus Yellow was kind of hard to see. Kind of a little bit opposite of that, just seeing John McCarthy getting the abuse from the Sons of Ben. I mean, I know he's been out of the club now for a while, and
For a while,
obviously he
yeah.
was on the LA team when we lost and all that
Yep.
stuff, MLS
Yep.
Cup. So, he's definitely earned outside club status, but I always
Yep.
like to think, once you're a Union player, and he played his heart for our team, just with every time he's taking that goal
Oh.
kick, and you hear the the chants coming from
YSA
Sons of
chant.
Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Hmm.
like, come on, he's still
Yeah,
kind of deep down inside. There's still some blue blood in there.
There's
felt
still
a
some
little
Philly.
harsh.
Yeah,
There's still that Philly forever.
yeah.
Well, it was about to get worse for him.
But it would get worse.
Because that while that was the takeoff of the second half, the landing of the second half ended up with what, 8-9 minutes
It
of
was the 8 minutes.
stoppage time.
We had a
Eight,
double
yeah.
landing. We had to go around. I like to
Uh-huh.
think it was turbulent weather, and it was, and we had to come in for a second pass.
There's your wife clinging to your arm, asking if we're going to run out of fuel. You know,
Mhm.
I may or may not have done that once or twice.
And credit to Kevin Sullivan. He recycles a play. He keeps the
Yeah,
play in the box. He keeps the play in the
that's a good way to describe it.
attacking part of the field. Ends up at Aura's feet, and I'm not sure how Aura does this. He's literally dribbling away from the goal
Hmm.
towards the right hand side. Somehow gets his hips twisted around
With a defender on him.
and chips this ball
Yeah.
to like the one space that didn't have a Galaxy defender, and Baribo was all alone
Hmm.
and on the far side of the net, and just once again with a nice clean header beats
Yeah.
McCarthy, and the place just erupted. How loud was that down there at the stadium?
It was just, I don't know because I couldn't hear over my own screaming. This is the second Wednesday in a row that I
Yeah.
signed on for work the next day, sounding like I had just been in a
Yeah.
very smoky room for a very long time.
Thanks everyone for coming to the meeting.
Pretty much, yeah. So no, it went nuts, and also I think there was just a huge sigh of relief
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people were in the not like this camp.
It,
So
this game was such a roller coaster because I even remember
was.
at like after the first half, maybe we were talking with Nate and Dan. I think I probably said something like, if the universe was to say right now, hey, you know what? Let's let the Union, they'll tie it up in the second half. You walk away from this game with a 2-2 draw. Would you take it? And I would like, yes, I will take that 2-2 draw. And so for the Union to tie it up really early in the second half, you start humoring those thoughts of what if we actually win this game? And it was a bit of a back and forth in that second half. The Union had a lot of chances. But once we entered stoppage time, it's like, all right, well, you know what? I'll be happy with this draw. And I still remember when it hit like the 95th minute, because we had 8 minutes of stoppage time. I remember thinking, because the ball went out for a throw in on the player side of the field, because we're sitting on the side that's visible by the cameras.
right.
And I remember thinking, like, we have 3 minutes left. Whoever scores this goal is going to win the game. Whoever scores the next goal is going to win. It's just who's going to score that goal.
Mhm.
And it's just nice to get that movie ending finish, right? Where at the death where you just get that winning goal. And yeah, anyway, so Paul, the place erupted. It was just like,
It seemed like it was almost a playoff atmosphere. Like
yeah, it's like I
fans
think
wanted, the teams wanted it. The team was celebrating. I mean, Rick ran
Yeah.
down there for that goal.
Yeah,
It's funny.
that was an absolute pile on.
If you look at that pylon, like Rick runs in there, and all of a sudden you realize I better get back to my goal net. But
Yeah.
but this was it was like a tale of two games. Like we're playing
Mhm.
Columbus, and it was an exciting game,
Right.
and we walked away with a 2-2 draw. The LA game was a dramatic game.
Yeah.
It had the full roller coaster. It had a lot more emotional impact than I think playing the last place team in the league should have had. But regardless,
Right.
it was a great game. And
No, but that's why.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's why, because we were just like, there's no way we can't
Yeah.
be the ones. It's like you don't want to be the first ones eliminated from the reality show.
Yeah.
You don't want
Right.
to lose to the LA Galaxy
Yeah.
at this
Yeah.
stage with as much respect as I can muster.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have much love lost for LA Galaxy.
No,
Look, they are
no.
a storied, historic team in the league, 100%. But I
The
don't feel
only
bad.
reason I'm not like going to town is John McCarthy, really, at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, John
Which
McCarthy,
it took me probably fully 2/3 of the game to realize was in net. I fully forgot. that he was their keeper, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Actually,
Fine.
I also didn't realize Marco Reus is on LA Galaxy, the German national, and and he actually got the assist for both of their two goals.
Yeah.
So they're not coming in with a bunch of, schlumps, right?
Right.
They got firepower.
It really feels like they're cursed. It really
Yeah,
does.
honestly,
Yeah. Something
that
supernatural.
that's what it feels like. Yeah,
But
but yeah,
Snake bit
holy
this
cow,
season.
it
that game,
was it was a lot.
that
It was
game, it was,
something about the Wednesday night games. I'm thinking
yeah,
it's like I don't know what it is,
yeah.
but
Maybe that's what we should do. Like, if someone's, want to check out a Union game, go to a Wednesday night game.
go to Wednesday night.
It's,
One, the crowds aren't going to be that
yep,
big, but two, they get really entertaining.
yeah,
Yeah.
And three, since there's not that many people, you can probably move to a better spot so you don't have to
sure,
spend for the
Mm,
biggest,
100%, yeah,
like the old
biggest
days.
seat.
yeah, right,
Yeah. I wonder if it's a little bit, I don't know if this is fair to say. It'd be interesting to, if you could do a poll or some kind of say, but I wonder if it's a little more diehard too. Like the
yeah,
folks who
yeah,
are there, because coming out on Wednesday, like again, it very much depends where you're coming from, but it's a little bit more of a commitment, or you have to be a little bit more into it
hmm
because
hmm
It can be hard to motivate or get away from what you're doing during the week. I mean,
yeah,
everybody has different schedules, but it's a little
Although as
tougher.
the union continue to do well, we will see the crowds swell as
Mm,
yeah,
the union
hmm
can stay up in these top five spots
yeah,
hmm
and continue to get wins. They're going to
Yeah.
draw crowds and it could get really loud in July and August, even in the heat. So
Yeah.
yeah,
we'll have to see how things
Mhm.
go. Anything else from either of those goals? I think we covered them actually pretty well.
yeah. No, it was a
No,
great
I think
game. It was a
that
great
was a
game.
really,
Probably took off a little bit too many years than necessary, but it was a great game.
yeah, this is a life-shortening thing going to these Wednesday games.
Yeah,
Because the last week's definitely
yeah,
definitely made me a bit older. So yeah.
So after the game, Union currently sit in second place. I believe they're tied in points, but they've got the goal or the tiebreaker against Columbus, and then Cincinnati's in first.
yeah, yeah,
I think they're 2 points. Cincinnati's 2 points ahead. The Union are in
yeah,
second
yeah.
with
Cincinnati's got
22.
28, and then Philly and Columbus have 26.
So yeah, they're doing well. Hopefully they can keep it up. They seem to have bought in to Bradley Carnell's approach to the game and having good success with it. And hopefully that will continue through the rest of the season. And then coming up, the Union are at Atlanta on Saturday. And Atlanta's currently, if not the bottom, close to,
Yeah,
as they
13.
only have 2 wins so far on the season. And so that's Saturday's game. And then quickly turn around. The Union are hosting Pittsburgh Riverhounds in a U.S. Open
Hmm.
Cup round of 16.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean that game gets them one step closer to some hardware. So if
hmm
they get 4 more wins there, that will get them a piece of hardware, which would be great.
yeah.
I will be a little torn about that game because we are the baddies.
Mhm.
As we mentioned last week, as the Pittsburgh Riverhounds are the last USL team
Yeah, right.
left
Yeah,
in the tournament. So, I mean, I guess it's subjective, but I feel like we're the baddies in this one.
I mean,
So we'll see.
it's always I always root for the USL teams in Open Cup, except when we play them, which case
Right.
then I'm like, cool. Hopefully this gives us you know, a little bit of an easier go, but as we know from the last game, that is not the case. So,
No.
yeah, if anyone's hankering at an interesting game, this I think next Wednesday will be a good one to check out. And I mean, we're gonna play this by ear. We might try to get down there for that one too,
Yeah.
but
Oh,
we'll
very
see.
cool.
Yeah. What do you guys kind of hope to see in any of these games?
I want to see a little rotation. Wouldn't mind seeing Bueno
Oh
get
yeah,
some extra
Yeah.
time.
yeah.
Hmm
Vasilev's been actually doing a really good job up top.
hmm
Hmm.
Sullivan's kind of been a little quiet the last few games, so I almost wonder if giving him a breather in
hmm
one of these 2 games would be a good idea to let him just concentrate on one of those 2 games. But yeah, on the whole, just some rotation among the squad.
Yeah,
It's kind of what I'm looking for because I
yeah,
think they can win them both. They're going to be tough games. Playing away in MLS is always hard, And, like you said, the USL, this Riverhounds are the last USL team, so they're going to want to do whatever they can to make it ugly and probably go for penalty kicks, if not
Mhm.
Hmm.
a
Outright.
counterattack goal.
Yeah.
So it's going to be tough. But yeah, ultimately, I think I want to see some rotation. How
Yeah.
about you guys?
Yeah, I just want to see a continuation of the Union dominance. Atlanta's always a little tricky because that stadium is a bit of a cauldron. I don't know if it's due to the architecture, the fan base, or combination of multiple things, but I always get a little nervous at Atlanta. They're down in 13th place, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything
Mm.
necessarily, especially in this league. Um, what do I want to see? Well, if we're gonna blue sky, I want to see Blake get back in net. That just means he's healthy, but I want to, it's paramount that he gets healed properly. So I don't want to see him in net until he's back at his fighting weight. Hopefully that's sooner than later. But I would love to see Blake in net. But I'm going to be watching Danley, uh, doing more of what he does. Um, and I like to see Baribo get one more goal because he's, I think, 2 goals ahead now in the Golden Boot um,
He has
competition here.
10. I didn't check it. Oh,
I mean, he's he's
feasibly.
definitely he's definitely leading, and so
Yeah, he's
if
leading.
if he can kind of extend that lead a little bit more, that would be great.
He's up by one
Oh,
over
okay,
Cristiano Arango
Okay.
out of
okay,
San Jose.
all right,
Oh, interesting. San
yeah,
Jose,
But there
huh?
are at least three players with 8 goals, including Kuipers.
yeah.
Ah, Kuipers.
That's Vancouver, right?
Kuipers is Chicago.
Oh,
Brian
Chicago,
White is
Chicago. That's right.
Vancouver,
Hmm.
and he has 8 as well. And then
Yeah,
there's Ojeda from Orlando and has 8. And yeah, it's those three. There's a couple at 7 and etc. So Baribo has a 1 goal edge.
the other thing I'll say is for the U.S. Open Cup, I just want to see us win it in regulation time. I
Ooh,
Oh,
think
good call.
with the 9 games this month, um, those extra 15 minutes, it's going to
hmm.
add up. So
Yep.
we just got to
30
win this in
minutes.
90. Just win it in 90.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. And also, especially if we go, I'd like it in regulation time.
Yeah. I can't stay up super late.
Um, no, yeah, I don't think I have anything new to add to the conversation. I just would like to see. I'm amazed at where we are, what, a third of the way into the
Yeah.
season. Um, I mean, I keep looking at it and thinking, well, it's a 13th place team, so we should beat them, but
Yeah.
we're gonna start losing sooner or later. We're gonna hit those hard teams, and then there may be truth to that, but at the same time, we're near the top right now.
Yeah.
So like, this is not where I expected to be. I expected this to be just an up and down season where we just go and watch some soccer and write it off.
Yeah.
While we figure out what was going on, and I'm very grateful at this point, on this day in the year of our Lord, that we are, where we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And hopefully it doesn't go sideways, but if it does, I'm still surprised and grateful for the season that we have had so far.
It's been
Um,
fun.
it has been a
Yeah.
lot of fun. Yeah, a lot more fun than I anticipated.
I think we are now, we have a large enough sample size to kind of start
Yeah.
analyzing, potentially projecting the trajectory of the Carnell experiment, right? We
Hmm.
remember, Paul, like we were asking like game 5, right? How many games into the season do we need to be to start saying, yeah, this is there's definitely a plan and we can kind of see where it's headed or how it's performing. And we're a third of the way through the season. We're sitting in second place. We still got a lot of work to do, but results so far I would say are promising.
And the play on the
Hmm.
field, I think, shows that the players have bought into it.
Hmm.
Like they're playing with each other, for each other, and they're playing hard.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can
Hmm.
keep it up all season long, but they definitely seem to have bought into the Carnell, you know, what I forget what Jim
Program,
called it. Um,
philosophy.
well, no, he talked about the chaos or something like that, the
Oh,
Cornell
Hmm.
chaos that one time that we were
yeah.
all talking to them.
Hmm.
I think that's what it was, and they it's while it's chaotic, it seems to be there seems to be some order underlying that chaos. I'm trying to like bring my Ian Malcolm into this one,
Mm,
uh, but it definitely feels like they've got an idea and they know how they want to play. And I
Yeah.
just once again point out that when we showed up, when at least one of us are at the game, they seem to do well. And hey, cool, we got another win.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, also with you guys being at the game, you got to experience something for the first time. You guys want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, just want to give out, or we call it the shout out, which we'll probably change this name, but the Larimer Beer Company. I know it's been there for a couple of years now. I think 20, oh gosh, I don't know, 2020, something like that, 2019 maybe.
no,
But
I'm not sure when it started, but yeah.
yeah, it's a cool little place. If you haven't checked it out, we absolutely recommend checking out. I know they're always open game day before and maybe even better afterwards.
Mhm.
So we kind of headed over there with superfan Nate and Dan and had a little post game uh,
Libation.
debriefing and libation. Yeah. But yeah, super cool place. It's located on Engle Street, right next to
Mhm.
the Wisfis Sportsplex. I'm
Mhm.
sure, I mean, just you'll see the people outside, but yeah, it was really cool. I know we've been past there a couple times, but we
Yeah.
never just stopped in just to hang out, and
Yeah.
it's
Never
super
really
cool.
had the opportunity. So yeah, it's definitely some soccer themed brews on tap and also soft drinks for those who aren't necessarily beer fans. Nice little patio area outside, so an alternative to Union Yards.
Hmm.
And pretty established in the community. So we really enjoyed it. We were glad to have the opportunity to go. Not our usual thing, but I would definitely go again.
Yeah.
So
And it's a
um,
good way to wait out the traffic and let it thin a bit before you.
I
100%.
got
It wasn't the plan, but it worked.
It was fantastic. I mean, I know it was a little bit of a crowd-wise, it was a little bit of a lighter
Mm,
evening, but
mhm.
man, we were done there. We just got in the car and like we didn't have to wait for anything,
Yeah.
just getting up onto the bridge and just hitting 95, and man, it was just smooth sailing. But
Excellent.
yeah, so that's our shout out for the week. Go check out the Larimer Beer Company over on Engle Street.
I have a little shout out, but it's a little bit different. It's to a gentleman named Walter,
Okay.
who I encountered at an appointment I had to go to this week. I got to eavesdrop, and apparently he's a German gentleman who has been here for a very long time in this country. And where we live, there are two like German heritage clubs. That's not a euphemism for anything. That's just truly just German heritage clubs. And they tend to run their own soccer leagues and that kind of thing. And apparently, this Walter was instrumental in founding one of those club soccer leagues, and he loved to play himself. He's no longer able to. He's in his mid 80s. But I asked him. I was eavesdropping on most of this, and then I had to interrupt because you don't get to hear German accents and talk about soccer a lot. And so I
Very
just
cool.
asked him where he played, and he said, wherever they needed me, soccer was my life. And
Oh,
it just thought it was very sweet. So, box to box, Walter, shout out. You'll never hear this, but it was just a sweet little moment this week
but
that
if
I
you
have.
do hear this, Walter, please
Yes,
drop us an email.
please do. Please do. So,
Yeah, that's cool. Just the universality of soccer.
yeah,
It's just
yeah.
it knows no borders or you know,
I did
yeah.
not get the chance to tell him a joke about soccer's game of 90 minutes at
And
the
at
end
the
of the
end,
Germans win. I'm sure he would have appreciated it.
yeah,
But yeah, next time I run into
he
Walter,
probably would have finished it for you.
he might have.
Yes, and then after 90 minutes, the Germans are the winners. I know how to play soccer.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, that takes us to the end. And like we said, we're trying to keep this to a slightly shorter episode. So if you would like to, please check us out at our website, amorephillyunion.com. Definitely send us any questions via email or any Any comments, questions, any ideas that you would like to hear us discuss or think we should include on the podcast, please email us or reach out to us on our social media accounts, especially Instagram, and we'll be sure to include any ideas in the pod. You can email us at pod@amorephillyunion.com. Our social medias are across the board, amorephillyunion, so Instagram, YouTube, Threads, or Bluesky. We also, once again, have a very eclectic Spotify playlist of music. Just look us up under amorephillyunion and tune in. If you are interested in getting any Ampu swag, check out our online store. You can either find it from one of the links in our socials, or you can find it at the top of our website. And definitely download and subscribe to our podcast wherever you get your podcasts, whatever app you choose to use. While you're at it, make sure you go and show some love to one of our favorite forces of good in the world, the Philadelphia Union Foundation. And check them out at their website, philadelphiaunionfoundation.org. Thanks everyone for tuning in for another episode of Amorephillyunion. We are your hosts. I'm Paul.
I'm C.
And I'm E.
Go Union!
Oh, was that the worst one yet?
That was the worst one, I think.
That was
so
bad. That was bad.
That's all right. Hey, we drew
It's
in 1-1,
authentic.
so
It's awesome.
authentic. That's right.